Welcome to Zoe Stories. I lost a bet. Now she makes me wear skirts every day. If someone had told me a month ago that a stupid game would change the course of my life forever, I would have laughed. I was 19, quiet, a little awkward, and mostly invisible in the crowd. My friends were louder, braver, and always the ones pulling me along to things I didn't want to do. That Friday night was supposed to be harmless, just a small get-together in Hannah's basement. Hannah was the kind of girl who always had a mischievous spark in her eyes, like she knew everyone's secrets before they did. She was witty, a little cruel in the way she teased, and impossible to say no to. The air smelled like popcorn and soda. Music pulsed softly from a speaker. We sat in a loose circle, 6 of us, trading jokes and dares. It was supposed to be lighthearted, but the deeper the night went, the sharper Hannah's dares became. "Truth or dare?" she asked, her eyes darting to me. "Truth," I said quickly, trying to keep safe. Groans erupted. "Boring," one of the guys complained. "Fine," Hannah said, leaning forward, her chin resting in her hand. "Is it true you've never even kissed anyone?" Heat rushed to my face. Laughter spread around the circle like wildfire. I felt my ears burn. That's none of your business," I muttered, pulling my hoodie tighter. The group howled. My silence was answer enough. Hannah smirked knowingly, but she didn't press further. Instead, she reached for the deck of cards in the middle. "Okay, enough baby games. Let's make this interesting. Poker round. Loser takes a dare, no backing out." I should have left then. I should have excused myself and gone home. But the challenge in her voice kept me frozen. Nobody ever noticed me, and for once, all eyes were on me. We played. My hands shook with every card. My luck sank like a stone. By the 3rd round, I had nothing. Absolutely nothing. "All in," Hannah declared, sliding her pile forward. Her grin was predatory. She knew she had me cornered. My stomach churned. I hesitated, but what choice did I have? "All in," I whispered. When I laid down my pathetic hand, laughter exploded. Hannah leaned back, triumphant. Well. Looks like our quiet little lamb has lost." "What's the dare?" one of the others asked eagerly. Hannah didn't answer right away. She tapped her manicured finger against her lips, eyes scanning me like she was planning something deliciously wicked. Then her smile widened. "You'll wear a skirt," she announced. The room erupted in laughter again. "What?" I blurted, my throat dry. "No way. That's not fair." "Those are the rules," Hannah interrupted smoothly. "Loser takes the dare. Unless," her eyes glinted, "unless you want everyone to know about your little truth earlier." My heart slammed. She wouldn't. Would she? The smirk on her face told me she absolutely would. "It's just for tonight," she added sweetly, though her tone was dripping with mockery. "One skirt." My skirt. "I think it'll fit you perfectly." The others jeered, egging me on. I felt like a cornered animal. My pride screamed at me to refuse, but my fear of humiliation, the wrong kind, pinned me down. My voice cracked. "Fine. Good boy," Hannah purred, standing. "Follow me." The basement blurred as she tugged me upstairs to her room. Clothes littered the floor, bright tops, stacks of jeans, and, on the bed, a pleated skirt in soft pastel pink. She picked it up and held it against my waist. "See," she teased. "Almost perfect already." My stomach twisted. "This is stupid. Just hurry up." "Lift your arms," she ordered. I froze. The authority in her voice was unexpected, commanding. My body obeyed before my mind caught up. She slid the skirt up my legs, the fabric cool and soft, foreign against my skin. The waistband hugged me tighter than I expected, clinging. When I dared look in the mirror, my breath caught. It was still me, awkward, pale, nervous, but the skirt changed everything. My legs looked different, thinner, softer. My hoodie suddenly looked ridiculous, with the delicate fabric. Hannah caught my stunned expression and smirked. "Cute," she whispered. "Shut up," I snapped, but my voice lacked strength. She leaned close, her perfume sweet and sharp. "You're going downstairs like this." No excuses. What? Panic surged through me. You lost the bet. A deal's a deal. She stepped back, arms folded. Or should I tell them you begged me not to? My knees weakened. She had me. The sound of laughter drifted up from the basement. They were waiting. My pulse thundered in my ears. I wanted to run, to rip the skirt off, to disappear. But Hannah's gaze was steady, unyielding. Skirts suit you, she said softly, almost like it was a secret between us. Then, louder. Now let's go. I took one trembling step toward the door. The night that was supposed to be harmless had just rewritten the rules of my life. And somewhere deep inside, a fear I couldn't name whispered that this wasn't just a game anymore. The fabric clung to my thighs as I followed Hannah down the stairs. Each step felt like it echoed through the whole house, the soft swish of the skirt brushing against my legs, a constant reminder of what I was wearing. My heart raced so fast it almost drowned out the chatter below. I wanted to turn back, rip it off, and beg her to forget this ever happened. But Hannah was just ahead of me, glancing back with that smug smile, daring me to try and disobey. When we reached the basement door, she paused, her hand on the knob. Smile, she whispered. What? I hissed, horrified. If you walk in there looking like you're being tortured, it won't be any fun. Lift your chin. Pretend you're proud. I can't. Her eyes hardened. Do you want me to tell them you begged? My stomach dropped. My throat locked up. Slowly, trembling, I forced the corners of my mouth upward. It wasn't a smile, it was a grimace, but Hannah seemed satisfied. Good girl, she whispered. Before I could protest, she flung the door open. The room went silent for a heartbeat. Then laughter exploded. Oh my God, someone shouted. Look at him. He's actually wearing it. My face burned so hot it felt like my skin was on fire. Every eye was on me. I tried to shrink into myself, to vanish, but Hannah's hand pressed firmly against my back, pushing me forward. Doesn't he look adorable? She teased. The word adorable sliced through me. It wasn't meant for me. Not for a guy. But hearing it, with everyone pointing and laughing, made my stomach twist in ways I couldn't understand. I stumbled toward the circle of friends, tugging at the hem of the skirt, but it only made them laugh harder. Spin for us, one of the girls called. Yeah, let's see the whole look, another added. No way, I muttered, shaking my head. Do it, Hannah ordered, her voice low but sharp. I froze. The laughter around me blurred into a deafening roar. My legs moved on their own, awkwardly turning in a stiff circle. The skirt flared just slightly, brushing my thighs. Cheers and whistles filled the air. I wanted to die. Not bad, one of the guys joked. If I didn't know better, I'd say you were someone's little sister. The laughter stabbed deeper. I bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. Then Hannah dropped the real bomb. Oh, he's not done yet, she announced. My head snapped toward her. What are you? You're wearing skirts every day. That's the new deal. The basement erupted again, half in shock, half in glee. No. That wasn't the bet, I shouted, my voice breaking. Hannah only smirked, leaning closer to whisper in my ear. It is now. Unless, of course, you want me to tell everyone about your little secret. I froze. The room seemed to tilt. My chest tightened, my lungs refusing to fill. She had me cornered again, trapped by her words. The laughter died down into eager whispers. Everyone was waiting for my reaction. I swallowed hard, my voice barely audible. Fine. Hannah clapped her hands once, grinning wide. Perfect. You heard him. Every single day. The group cheered, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others already plotting how to tease me next. But all I could think about was the mirror upstairs. The way the skirt had changed me. The way Hannah had looked at me like she was molding me into something else. And the terrifying realization that this wasn't going to stop here. That night, as the laughter echoed in my head, I couldn't shake the feeling that the bet had been a trap from the very start. And Hannah, she wasn't just playing a game. She was planning something much bigger. I thought the prank was over. I thought the nightmare had ended. But I was wrong, so very wrong. That night, in the common room of the hostel, my roommate called me over with a sly grin. His eyes had that glint again, the same look he had right before the prank. "Why so tense, man? Let's make things interesting," he said casually. My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" I asked, already sensing danger. He leaned forward, lowering his voice just enough to keep me on edge.
"A bet."
1 week. You live as a girl, dresses, heels, makeup, the whole thing. If you succeed, I'll pay all your mess fees for the semester. But if you fail, he paused, letting the silence eat me alive. Then, with a wicked smirk, he finished, "You'll keep wearing dresses and heels until I decide otherwise." For a moment, the entire room spun around me. My brain screamed, "Say no. Walk away. Don't fall for this." But before I could react, he raised his voice and announced the bet to everyone in the room. The other guys burst into cheers and laughter. Now, it wasn't just between us, it was public. My pride, my dignity, everything was at stake. If I backed out, I'd be branded a coward. If I accepted, I'd be stepping into a trap I wasn't sure I could escape. My heart hammered inside my chest. I wanted to shout no, but when I opened my mouth, only one word slipped out. "Okay." The room exploded in shouts and claps. My roommate smirked like he had just won a chess match. He leaned close and whispered, "Starting tomorrow, you'll be my doll." That night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts raced. Fear, humiliation, and a strange stubbornness. Part of me wanted to prove I could survive this. But deep down, I knew I had just walked into the most dangerous game of my life. Morning came too quickly. I barely slept, and when I finally dragged myself out of bed, my roommate was already waiting, with a shopping bag in his hands. "Good morning, princess," he said, his grin stretching ear to ear. "Time to start your week." He handed me the bag. Inside were clothes I had never dared to touch before, delicate blouses, a short pleated skirt, lacy stockings, and heels. My throat tightened. I wanted to argue, to refuse, but the memory of last night's bet echoed in my head. The whole hostel knew. Backing out wasn't an option anymore. "Put it on," he said simply. With shaking hands, I went to the bathroom. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, scared, trembling, but trapped. I slipped into the skirt, the blouse, the stockings. The fabric felt alien, soft, almost mocking. Finally, I forced my feet into the heels. They pinched instantly, and my balance wavered. When I stepped out, laughter erupted. My roommate clapped like he was presenting a masterpiece. "Look at you. Adorable." I burned with humiliation, cheeks red, but the taunts from the others made it worse. Some whistled, some called me cutie, others shouted spin for us. My roommate placed a hand on my shoulder and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. "Remember the rules. You're not allowed to act like a boy. You're mine to dress, mine to show off. Fail, and the week becomes forever." That day, he didn't let me hide. He dragged me to the cafeteria. Every step in the heels was torture. The clicking sound on the floor drew eyes instantly. Conversation stopped. I could feel dozens of stares burning into me. Whispers spread across the hall. "Is that him? No way, he looks like a girl. Damn, his legs in that skirt." My tray shook in my hands as I tried not to cry. But then something unexpected happened. A group of girls walked by, smiling at me. One of them said softly, "You actually look pretty."
Pretty.
The word pierced me. It was humiliating, but also confusing. For the first time, I didn't just feel like a joke. I felt seen differently. That night, lying in bed with sore feet and a twisted mind, I asked myself a question I never thought I'd ask. What if I can't stop this? I thought the worst was over after that humiliating day in the cafeteria. I thought maybe my roommate would be satisfied with the laughter, the whispers, the way I nearly tripped in heels while carrying a tray of food. But I was wrong. The next morning, he stood at my bedside with a wicked smile and a new plan. "Yesterday was just the warm-up," he said, dangling another shopping bag in front of me. "Today we're leveling up." I groaned and buried my face in the pillow. Please. I did what you wanted. I wore the skirt, I walked around. Everyone laughed at me. Isn't that enough? He sat down beside me, lowering his voice until it was dangerously calm. You lost the bet. You're mine for the whole week. And I said you'd wear skirts every day, but you didn't think I'd stop there, did you? I froze. My stomach dropped as I realized what he meant. He pulled out the items from the bag one by one: foundation, blush, eyeliner, mascara, lip gloss, and finally a long auburn wig with soft curls. No, I whispered, shaking my head. Not that. Please, not makeup. Yes, he replied, his grin widening. Makeup, hair, the whole package. Yesterday you looked like a boy in a skirt. Today you're going to look like a girl. My girl. His words sent shivers down my spine. I tried to protest, but he grabbed my chin firmly and forced me to meet his eyes. You want me to release you after 7 days? Then obey. The more you resist, the more I'll push. You don't want me to post pictures online, do you? The threat hung in the air. I swallowed hard. He had me trapped, and he knew it. The transformation begins. He pulled me to the desk where he had already laid out the products like weapons. Sit, he ordered. I sat down reluctantly, trembling. My reflection in the small mirror looked pale, terrified, pathetic. He began with foundation, smoothing the liquid onto my face with practiced fingers. The cold touch of the sponge sent a chill through me.
See? Not so bad, he teased.
We just need to cover that rough boy skin. I wanted to slap his hand away, but I stayed still. Next came blush, adding soft pink to my cheeks. I watched in horror as my face softened, as the sharp lines I had once thought made me masculine disappeared under his control. When he applied eyeliner, I flinched. Hold still, he scolded. You'll ruin it. I forced myself not to move as he drew the dark lines around my eyes. Suddenly, my gaze in the mirror looked larger, more delicate, almost doll-like. Then the mascara. My lashes lengthened unnaturally, fluttering when I blinked. He chuckled. You're going to drive the boys crazy with those eyes. Stop saying things like that, I muttered, my voice weak. Finally, he picked up the lip gloss. Last step, he whispered, his tone almost intimate. He painted my lips with a shimmering rose color. When I looked at myself, I hardly recognized the person staring back. A stranger. A girl. But he wasn't finished. He placed the auburn wig over my head, adjusting it carefully. The curls fell against my shoulders, framing my made-up face perfectly. I gasped. The mirror no longer showed a boy in humiliation. It showed a pretty girl with wide eyes, soft features, and trembling lips. No, I whispered. This isn't me. This can't be me. He leaned close, his voice a cruel whisper in my ear. It is you. This is who you are now. Get used to it. The outfit. As if makeup wasn't enough, he handed me a new outfit. A pastel skirt with lace trim, a fitted blouse with puffed sleeves, and delicate flats.
Put it on, he commanded.
I can't, my voice cracked. You will.
My hands shook as I changed.
The blouse hugged my body tighter than yesterday's. The skirt was even shorter, brushing mid-thigh. When I stood, my legs felt naked, exposed. He clapped his hands together in delight. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I tried not to cry. Now, he said, let's test your new look. Time for a little walk. My heart dropped.
No.
Not outside. Please, don't make me go outside like this. He grabbed his phone, waving it tauntingly. Either you come with me, or this goes online. I had no choice. The walk through the corridor was worse than anything I'd imagined. Heads turned instantly. Whispers followed me like shadows. Some people laughed. Others stared in shock. A few guys actually did double takes, their confusion written all over their faces. I felt my cheeks burn under the layers of makeup. I wanted to disappear, but every step in those flats reminded me I was on display. One girl approached me, smiling. Wow, I didn't know you could pull this off. You look really pretty.
Pretty.
That word again. It twisted inside me, filling me with both shame and a strange, unspoken warmth. I forced a smile, but my stomach was in knots. When we returned, I collapsed onto the bed, covering my face with my hands. "Why are you doing this to me?" I asked, my voice breaking. He sat beside me, brushing a curl of the wig away from my cheek. "Because you lost. Because I can. And because," he paused, his smile turning colder. "You're better like this. You don't see it yet, but you will." Tears welled in my eyes. I wanted to scream, to tear everything off, to fight back, but a part of me couldn't ignore the way the mirror had looked. The way the girls had smiled at me. The way someone had called me pretty. And that terrified me more than anything. The line between punishment and identity was starting to blur. Morning sunlight streamed through the curtains, but I didn't feel its warmth. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the folded outfit my roommate had set out for me the night before. A floral skirt, a soft pink cardigan, white tights, and ballet flats with little bows. The sight made my stomach churn. I wanted to burn them, to scream, to rip off this nightmare and demand my life back. But instead, I just sat there, paralyzed. "Up," my roommate said, clapping his hands like a teacher addressing a lazy student. He was already dressed casually, jeans, hoodie, sneakers. Normal. Comfortable.
Male.
"I can't," I whispered. "You will," he said, his tone sharp but calm, the kind of tone that left no space for negotiation. He dangled his phone again, like a weapon. I hated that phone more than anything, knowing he could capture me at any moment, ruin me with a single upload. "Where are we even going?" My voice cracked with fear.
The mall.
His grin widened. "Don't worry. Just a quick trip. We'll shop a little, grab a bite, let people see you. You'll love it." I froze. My blood turned cold. The mall wasn't just some casual place. It was crowded, packed with classmates, neighbors, strangers, all of whom could recognize me. "No," I said quickly, panic rushing through me. "Anywhere but there. Please." He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper that dripped with amusement. "Remember the rules.
Skirts.
Every day. And today we go public." Tears stung my eyes, but I knew resistance was useless. With shaking hands, I dressed. The cardigan clung to my frame, the floral skirt swished around my thighs with every movement. The tights felt suffocating, encasing my legs in soft femininity. And the flats, silent, dainty, mocked my clumsy boyish stance. But the worst was still to come. He sat me down and reapplied makeup. This time he was bolder, thicker eyeliner, pink blush, glossy lips that gleamed unnaturally under the dorm light. Then he adjusted the auburn wig, brushing the curls until they bounced perfectly. When he was done, he spun me toward the mirror. The reflection was her. Not me. Not the boy I had been yesterday or the day before. She looked delicate, nervous, undeniably feminine. If I didn't know, I might have believed it myself. And that thought terrified me. The journey felt like a death march. Every step outside the dorm was torture. The stares, the smirks, the whispers. Some students pointed, some laughed, but others looked twice, eyes filled with something different.
Curiosity.
Admiration. Attraction? I clutched my cardigan tighter around myself, praying the earth would swallow me whole. By the time we reached the bus stop, my knees were shaking. My roommate, however, was buzzing with energy, walking proudly beside me like a handler parading his prized pet. On the bus, I sat rigid, avoiding eye contact. A middle-aged woman beside me smiled warmly. "You look lovely, dear." Lovely. The word hit me like a slap. I mumbled a thank you, my cheeks burning. My roommate's smirk said everything. "You're slipping. You're starting to accept this." The moment we entered, the mall swallowed me whole with noise, lights, and people. I wanted to turn and run, but his hand on my back pushed me forward. "Relax," he said cheerfully. "Act natural. You're just another girl shopping." Another girl. The phrase rattled in my skull like a bell. We walked through clothing stores first. He picked out dresses and shoved them into my arms. "Try these." In the fitting room. I refused at first, but his glare reminded me of the consequences. Inside the fitting room, I stripped and slipped into the dresses, one after another. A yellow sundress, a sleek black skirt and blouse, a frilly pastel thing that looked like it belonged in a doll's closet. Each time I stepped out, he made me spin, twirl, pose. Each time he snapped a photo. But what broke me was the store clerk. She gasped softly when she saw me, then smiled. "Wow, you're gorgeous. That color suits you." I wanted to correct her, to scream, "I'm not a girl, I'm not pretty, I'm not gorgeous." But instead, I stood there frozen, my face on fire, while my roommate thanked her smugly. After shopping, he dragged me to the food court. Sitting there, tray of food in front of me, I felt exposed. Every laugh in the distance, every pair of eyes, I imagined they were all aimed at me. "Eat," my roommate said casually, chewing his burger. My hands shook as I picked up my soda with freshly painted nails. I had to sip carefully, terrified of smudging the gloss. Even the simple act of eating felt wrong, delicate, rehearsed. That's when it happened. A group of boys from our college walked by. I recognized them instantly, and worse, they recognized me. Or at least, they thought they did. "Hey," one of them said, stopping at our table. He grinned, leaning slightly toward me. "Do we know you? You look familiar." My throat dried. My heart raced. Before I could answer, my roommate cut in smoothly. "This is Nina, a friend of mine. She's just visiting for the week." Nina. The fake name sliced through me like a knife. The boys chuckled. One of them gave me a slow, appreciative look. "Well, Nina, it's nice to meet you. You look really pretty."
Pretty.
There it was again. My stomach twisted violently. I mumbled something incoherent, my cheeks blazing. My roommate's hand pressed against my knee under the table, a silent command to play along. The boys finally left, but not without one of them winking at me. The moment they were gone, I broke. "You're sick," I hissed at my roommate, my voice trembling with rage and humiliation. "How could you do that?" "They thought I was a girl," he finished for me, smirking. "And they liked you. Admit it, you saw their faces. They wanted you." "I'm not a girl," I spat. But my voice cracked, and even to my own ears, it didn't sound convincing. The rest of the trip was a blur. More stares, more whispers, more comments I couldn't process. By the time we returned to the dorm, I felt hollow. I tore off the wig, the tights, the skirt. I scrubbed the makeup from my face until my skin burned. But when I finally looked at my reflection, I froze. The boys staring back looked empty.
Wrong. Plain.
And for the first time, I felt a pang of something horrifying. I missed her. The girl in the mirror. The one they had called pretty. The one who, for just a fleeting second, had felt real. The dorm room was silent that night, but my mind was a storm. My roommate had already drifted to sleep, his soft snores filling the space. I lay in my bed, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Every detail of the day replayed in my head. The store clerk's smile, the boys calling me Nina, the word pretty echoing over and over like a curse. I turned on my side, clutching the blanket against me, whispering into the dark. "I'm a boy. I'm a boy. I'm a boy." But with each repetition, my certainty faded. My voice cracked on the last word. The image of the girl in the mirror haunted me. The way her hair framed her face. The way her lips shimmered under the light. The way strangers had believed in her without question. I squeezed my eyes shut, but the reflection wouldn't leave me. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Quietly, I slipped out of bed and padded to the bathroom. The harsh bathroom light flickered to life. I gripped the sink, staring at my reflection. There he was, the boy. Pale, exhausted, with messy hair and puffy eyes. The boy I'd always been. The boy I thought I still was. But as I looked closer, something felt wrong. His face seemed dull, lifeless, compared to the girl who had stared back at me earlier. Hesitantly, I reached for the auburn wig. My hands shook as I placed it over my head. The curls fell naturally, like they belonged there. My chest tightened. Then, slowly, almost against my will, I picked up the lip gloss my roommate had left on the counter. I unscrewed the cap, my heart hammering in my chest. No, I whispered to myself. Stop.
This isn't you.
But my hand moved anyway. I brushed the gloss across my lips. The shimmer returned. My reflection changed instantly. I froze. The boy was gone again. She was back.
Pretty.
Delicate.
Soft.
A stranger. Yet somehow familiar. I gasped, stumbling back from the mirror. No, 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 no. My voice cracked, trembling. Tears welled in my eyes. I ripped the wig off, scrubbed the gloss away, but the damage was done. The girl's face lingered in my mind even as the boy's face stared back from the glass. And I hated myself for it. I sank to the cold bathroom floor, hugging my knees to my chest. Sobs tore out of me before I could stop them. Why me? I whispered. Why did I make that stupid bet? Why can't I just go back? The door creaked. I looked up through blurry tears to see my roommate standing there, half awake, smirking despite the situation. Well, he said softly. Couldn't resist, huh? I shook my head desperately. No, it's not, I didn't. He crouched down beside me, tilting my chin up with his hand. His eyes studied my swollen, tear-streaked face. You saw her, didn't you? The girl in the mirror. Stop, I begged. You liked her, he continued, ignoring me. His smile widened cruelly. Admit it. For a second, you liked being her. I shook my head violently, but the tears betrayed me. The sobs grew louder, my chest heaving. He leaned closer, whispering, This is only the beginning. You're breaking, and soon there won't be anything left to break. There will only be her. His words pierced me deeper than the humiliation ever could. Because the terrifying part was, I wasn't sure he was wrong. Before leaving, he patted my shoulder like a master soothing a pet. Tomorrow, we'll push further. If you're going to cry, at least cry with mascara running down your cheeks. That's how a real girl does it. The bathroom door closed, leaving me alone again. I curled on the floor, shaking, whispering into the silence. I won't let this happen. I won't. But my voice sounded hollow. Because somewhere deep down, beneath the fear and the shame, a darker whisper lingered. What if I already want it to happen? The morning after Olivia's shopping ambush, I woke with an odd heaviness in my chest. For the first time in my life, I felt reluctant to face my own reflection. My roommate was gone for the day. Her internship hours kept her busy, and that left me alone with a strange assortment of clothes, makeup, and accessories she had purchased for fun. At first, I thought I could just shove the bags into the closet and forget about them. But every time I passed by, it felt like they whispered to me, daring me to take one more step down this path. Finally, I gave in. I pulled out one of the dresses she had chosen, a soft lavender piece with flowing fabric that seemed to shimmer faintly under the light. My hands trembled as I slipped it over my body. It hugged me differently than anything I had worn before. The sensation was both terrifying and intoxicating. The real breaking point came when I stood in front of the mirror. My reflection stared back, half me, half someone else. The jawline was still mine, the shoulders broader than I wanted, but the dress softened all of that. My chest looked narrower, my legs longer. It wasn't just clothes. It was transformation. I grabbed the small makeup kit Olivia had left on the dresser. My first attempts were clumsy, eyeliner smudges, uneven foundation, but with every adjustment, I watched my reflection shift further away from the boy I thought I was. And when I added the final touch, lipstick in a muted rose tone, the stranger in the mirror felt frighteningly real. I whispered to myself, "Who are you?" But the reflection didn't answer. It only smiled back, daring me to accept it. That smile became my undoing. The longer I stared, the more my mind fractured. A war broke out inside me. One voice begged me to tear it all off, wash away the paint, and return to my old self. The other urged me to keep going, to see how far I could transform. And that second voice, that was louder. I leaned closer to the mirror, tilting my head the way Olivia did when she wanted to look coy. My stomach twisted with fear, but there was also a spark of exhilaration, like I was standing on the edge of something vast and irreversible. Then, out of nowhere, I heard the jingle of keys at the door. Olivia was back early. Panic surged through me. I scrambled to wipe off the makeup, fumbling with tissues that only smeared it worse. The lavender dress tangled around my legs as I tried to rip it off. But before I could manage, the door swung open. Olivia stepped in, froze, and her eyes went wide. For a heartbeat, the world was silent. Then, instead of laughing or mocking me, she smiled. Slowly, almost knowingly. "I knew it," she whispered. Her words pierced deeper than any insult could have. In that moment, I realized she hadn't just been pushing me for fun. She had suspected something all along. Something about me that even I was too afraid to admit. The mirror didn't lie. And now neither could I. The silence after her whisper stretched like a taut wire. I stood frozen in the lavender dress, streaks of smeared makeup on my face, my pulse hammering in my ears. Every instinct told me to deny it, to laugh it off, to claim it was a joke. But Olivia's eyes, steady, unblinking, almost triumphant, stripped away every excuse before I could form it. She set her bag down carefully, as though she had all the time in the world, and crossed her arms. "So," she said softly, "you like it, don't you?" I shook my head too quickly. "No, it's not. It's not what it looks like. I was just curious." "Curious," she repeated, tasting the word. Then her lips curved into a sly smile. "Curiosity doesn't make you perfect that quickly. Look at you, even tried makeup without me." Heat flooded my face, but there was no escape. The evidence was smeared across my lips, smudged around my eyes, clinging to my body in lavender fabric. Olivia stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You've been fighting me this whole time, but deep down, you wanted this. Didn't you?" I swallowed hard, my throat dry. No words came out. My silence was its own confession. That was all the permission she needed. She touched my cheek, smudging the makeup further with her thumb. "If you're going to do this," she murmured, "you're going to do it right. And I'm going to make sure of it." Her tone had shifted. It wasn't playful anymore. It was commanding, almost dangerous. Before I could react, she spun me toward the mirror. My reflection stared back, half girl, half boy, caught in between. "You see that?" Olivia said, standing just behind me, her chin brushing my shoulder. "That's not a joke. That's not curiosity. That's you. And I'm not letting you hide from it anymore." I tried to protest, but she pressed a finger against my lips.
Sure.
"No more lies. From now on, you listen to me. I'll decide what you wear, how you walk, how you talk. If you really want to stop me, prove it.
Right now."
Take off the dress." Her challenge cut through me. My hands trembled as I reached for the zipper. I wanted to prove her wrong, to show her she hadn't gotten under my skin. But the truth was cruel. I hesitated. And Olivia saw it. Her smile widened into something sharper, hungrier. "I knew it. You don't want to stop." The zipper slipped from my fingers. My shoulders sagged. And with that small surrender, she owned me. Olivia pulled me away from the mirror, guiding me like a doll. "Good. Now sit. We're starting your lessons properly tonight." I dropped onto the edge of the bed, my heart pounding. Lessons. The word echoed in my skull like a verdict. She opened her bag and began pulling out items, makeup brushes, hair clips, jewelry. She laid them out like a surgeon preparing tools, her movements precise and deliberate. "You'll thank me later," she said, almost tenderly. "Because once I'm done with you, you'll be unrecognizable. And the best part," she leaned close, her breath hot against my ear, "you'll love it." I wanted to scream, to run, to tear everything off. But the terrifying truth was I couldn't. Something inside me, something I had buried for years, wanted to see how far she would take me. And Olivia knew it. I sat frozen on the bed while Olivia arranged her tools of war, lipsticks lined up by shade, foundation bottles of every tone, glittering palettes that seemed to hum with hidden power. My pulse rattled in my chest. This wasn't playful anymore. This was deliberate. Calculated. She turned to me, her smile sharp as glass. Lesson 1, she said, holding up a brush. Makeup isn't decoration. It's transformation. It's power. And you're about to learn that. I don't. My voice cracked. Olivia, I can't. You can. And you will. She pushed me back gently, but firmly, until my shoulders rested against the headboard. Unless you want me to tell everyone about tonight. Unless you want your precious reputation shredded by morning. The threat hung between us like smoke. She didn't have to say more. I knew she could do it. Olivia climbed onto the bed, straddling my knees so I couldn't move. The closeness made my skin crawl and tingle all at once. She tilted my chin up with 2 fingers. Eyes closed, she commanded. For a moment, I thought about refusing. But then I saw the phone peeking out of her pocket, the weapon she always carried. Proof waiting to be shared. My defiance crumbled. I let my eyelids fall shut. Her touch was maddening. The brush swept across my skin in slow, deliberate strokes, leaving cool trails that warmed almost instantly. Foundation first, she whispered, as though explaining to a child. We need a clean canvas. Your canvas. I flinched, but she steadied me with a firm hand on my jaw. The scent of her perfume, sweet, sharp, intoxicating, wrapped around me, making it harder to breathe. There, she murmured, blending the powder with a circular motion. Already softer. Already prettier. Prettier. The words sank into me like a hook. I hated it. I wanted to reject it. But part of me, the part one despised most, leaned toward it. Next came the eyes. Olivia hummed under her breath as she worked, each stroke deliberate, painting me into someone I wasn't. Don't blink, she scolded, when I flinched at the eyeliner. Pretty girls don't fidget. Pretty girls. The phrase made my stomach twist. Yet the mirror across the room kept pulling at me, begging me to look. When she was finished, she sat back, examining me like an artist evaluating her masterpiece. Almost, she said. But you're missing one thing. Her hand dipped into the pile of lipsticks. She chose a deep crimson shade, the kind I had only ever seen in movies. She uncapped it slowly, almost seductively, and leaned in. Open your mouth, she ordered. I obeyed, shame burning through me. The lipstick slid across my lips, smooth and heavy. With each stroke, my reflection shifted further from the boy I knew. There, she whispered when she pulled away. Perfect. I finally dared to open my eyes. The face staring back from the mirror wasn't mine. At least, not the way I remembered it. Softened skin, wide shimmering eyes, lips painted like fire. I looked like someone else. Someone fragile. Someone beautiful. A strangled sound escaped my throat. That's not me. Olivia laughed, a low, satisfied sound. Oh, it's you. It's the real you. And this is just the beginning. She slid off the bed, yanking open the closet door. Lesson 2, she said, pulling out a hanger. Every girl needs the right dress. I wanted to resist. I wanted to scream. But my body betrayed me. My eyes stayed locked on the mirror, on the stranger looking back. And somewhere deep inside, a terrifying whisper rose up. Maybe she's right. Olivia pulled the hanger free with a dramatic flick, and the dress unfurled like a flag. Soft fabric shimmered under the lamp's glow, pale pink satin with lace trimming. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't playful. It was designed to scream girl. My throat went dry. No, absolutely not. She cocked her head, smirking. You don't have a choice, remember? Her hand patted her pocket, the outline of her phone clear as a loaded weapon. Besides, you'll look adorable. Adorable. The word cut into me worse than a blade. She stepped closer, holding the dress against my chest as if measuring me. Strip, she said casually, like she was asking me to take off my shoes. My face flushed crimson. Olivia, Her eyes hardened.
Do it.
Or I pressed send. The threat of that one word, send, destroyed whatever scraps of resistance I had left. My hands trembled as I peeled off my shirt, then hesitated at my jeans. She sighed, impatient. Turn around. Humiliation flooded me, but I obeyed. I heard her move closer, felt her fingers at my waistband. You're so tense, she teased, tugging the fabric down. Relax. I've undressed dolls before. Her tone made it sound like I wasn't human anymore, just a toy. Within minutes, the dress was sliding down over my shoulders, cool satin hugging my skin. The sensation was alien, light, smooth, almost liquid. My arms felt trapped in lace, my legs suddenly bare and exposed. Olivia clapped her hands once. Perfect fit. Almost like it was waiting for you. I turned to the mirror and my heart stopped. The makeup from earlier, the crimson lips, the painted eyes, combined with the delicate dress, it was overwhelming. I didn't look like a boy in a prank. I looked like a girl. A shy, uncertain, blushing girl who didn't belong to herself anymore. I shook my head violently. This isn't me. This can't be me. Olivia stepped behind me, her hands resting lightly on my shoulders. Our eyes met in the mirror. Her smile was soft, but her grip was firm.
No, Ethan.
This is exactly you. The sooner you stop fighting it, the easier it will be. Her words sent ice through my veins. But before I could reply, she bent down and slipped a box onto the bed. The lid popped open to reveal glossy black heels. My stomach dropped. You've got to be kidding. Lesson 3, she interrupted smoothly. Every girl learns to walk before she runs. She picked them up and held them out. Put them on. My heart raced, panic clawing at my throat. The makeup was one thing, the dress another. But heels? That meant walking. That meant movement. That meant, you're not staying in this room forever, Olivia said, as if reading my mind. Tonight you walk. And tomorrow, her smile widened into something cruel. Tomorrow, the world sees you. The room tilted. I staggered back, shaking my head.
No.
Olivia, please. Don't make me. She shoved the heels into my hands, her voice low and sharp.
Do it.
Or you'll be the laughingstock of the entire campus before sunrise. The choice wasn't mine anymore. Maybe it never had been. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the heels as if they were shackles. My hands moved slowly, betraying me, slipping one slender shoe onto my foot, then the other. When I stood, the unfamiliar height threw me off balance. I stumbled forward, catching myself on the dresser. Olivia laughed softly, circling me like a predator. Good girl, she whispered. The words hit me like lightning, humiliating, sharp, impossible to ignore. And for the first time, a terrifying thought struck me. What if I can't go back? The heels felt like cages on my feet, squeezing and reshaping me into something fragile. I stood stiffly in the center of Olivia's room, satin dress swishing against my thighs every time I shifted nervously. She folded her arms, studying me with an expression that was half amusement, half control. Don't just stand there, she said. Walk. I can't. My voice cracked. My legs trembled beneath the ridiculous weight of the shoes. Olivia, this is insane.
I'll fall.
That's the point, she replied, her tone casual, like a teacher scolding a lazy student. You'll fall until you learn. And I'm not letting you take them off until you do. I swallowed hard. The floor felt like a stage, every inch of space spotlighted by her gaze. With a shaky breath, I lifted one foot and took a step. The heel wobbled, my ankle buckled, and I staggered sideways into the dresser. Olivia burst out laughing. Pathetic, she said. You look like a baby deer. Humiliation burned hotter than the makeup on my skin. I tried again. Another shaky step. Another stumble. She clicked her tongue. No, no, no. You're thinking like a boy. Boys stomp. Girls glide. Head high, shoulders back, hips loose. She walked toward me, her own steps effortless, smooth, commanding. Watch me. Her heels clicked against the hardwood floor, a sound sharp and intoxicating. She swayed with confidence, the kind I could never imagine having. Then she stopped inches away from me, towering in her presence even though we were the same height. Now, she whispered, do it again. I forced my body into motion. This time, I tried to mimic her posture, lifting my chin, letting my arms soften at my sides. The dress clung to my thighs, reminding me with every movement what I was wearing. I shuffled forward. 1 step.
2.
3. Still clumsy, but less disastrous. Olivia clapped slowly, mockingly. Better. But not enough. Again. So I walked again. And again. And again. Each circuit of the room left me sweating, my legs trembling, my pride dissolving piece by piece. She corrected me constantly, her voice cutting like a whip. Don't hunch. Swing your hips, not your shoulders.
Smile, Ethan.
A pretty face deserves a pretty smile. The worst part was the mirror. Every time I passed it, I caught a glimpse of the stranger staring back. A boy painted as a girl. My cheeks flushed, my lips red and glossy, my frame wrapped in satin. And the way the heels forced me to move, hips swaying, steps delicate, made the illusion more believable. Too believable. After what felt like hours, my body ached, but something inside me shifted. My steps smoothed out. My balance improved. For one fleeting second, I caught my reflection gliding across the floor, and it looked almost natural. Olivia noticed. Of course she did. She leaned against the wall, smiling like a queen watching her subject bow. There it is, she said softly.
See?
I told you. It wasn't you all along. Her words landed like poison and honey at once. No, I whispered, shaking my head. This isn't me. She crossed the room, pressing a finger under my chin until our eyes locked in the mirror. It is you. And soon, the whole world will see it too. A chill raced down my spine. Tomorrow, Olivia said, her smile widening, we take this outside. The floor seemed to vanish under my feet. My breath caught in my throat. Outside. Where people could see me. Where the illusion would become public. No, I stammered. Olivia, please. Not outside. Not like this. She tapped her phone screen and held it up. The glowing image of me in the dress, painted and trembling, filled the display. Oh, it'll happen, she said, her voice velvet and steel. Either on my terms or the internet's. My stomach turned to ice. I wanted to scream, to tear the dress off, to run barefoot out the door. But my body stayed frozen, trapped by fear, shame, and something else, something darker. Because a small, horrifying part of me wondered what it would feel like to be seen. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the curtains like a cruel spotlight. I blinked awake, my body stiff from the heels and endless walking drills Olivia had forced on me the night before. For a few seconds, I thought maybe it had been a dream. A sick, twisted nightmare. But then I saw it.
The dress.
Draped over the chair, the pink satin caught the morning light. The heels sat beneath it, waiting.
Silent.
Watching. My stomach lurched. It hadn't been a dream. It was my reality now. The bedroom door creaked open, and Olivia entered carrying a steaming mug of coffee. She wore jeans and a casual top, her hair tied in a messy bun. She looked like any normal girl starting her day, except her eyes were razor-sharp, locked on me. Morning, sunshine, she sang sweetly, placing the mug on the desk. Get up. Big day ahead. I sat up, dread weighing down my chest. Olivia, I can't. Not outside. Not like this. Her smile never wavered. Of course you can. You already walked perfectly last night. Today you get to show the world how pretty you are. I'm not. My throat tightened. I'm not pretty. I'm not your doll. She pulled her phone from her pocket and waved it casually. Want me to remind you what happens if you say no? I closed my eyes. The image of my painted face, my dress-clad body, splashed across group chats, classrooms, maybe even family WhatsApp groups. It was unbearable. She sat beside me on the bed, her tone softening. Ethan, stop fighting.
You'll see.
Once you step out there, you'll feel a rush. People will look at you, admire you. You'll never want to go back. I shook my head violently, but her words burrowed into me like hooks. She laid out everything on the bed. The satin dress, a fresh pair of tights, delicate lingerie I didn't even want to look at, and the dreaded black heels. My hands shook as I slipped into the lingerie. The fabric was light, whisper-thin, hugging my skin in ways that made me shiver with shame. The tights slid up my legs, encasing them in a sheen that made me unrecognizable even to myself. Olivia watched, arms folded, smirking. "Good girl," she murmured every time I obeyed. The words stung, but I didn't stop. By the time the dress was on, my breathing had gone shallow. My reflection shimmered in the mirror, a soft, delicate figure in satin, trembling but undeniably feminine. Olivia appeared behind me, her hands resting lightly on my shoulders. "Look at you," she whispered into my ear. "Do you see it now?" My eyes burned. "That's not me," I croaked. Her grip tightened. "It is. And soon everyone else will see it too." She moved on to makeup, layering foundation, eyeliner, and blush until the boy I had been was buried beneath paint. Finally, she uncapped the same crimson lipstick as last night and leaned close. "Pout," she ordered. I obeyed. The color bloomed across my lips, sealing the illusion. When she stepped back, she smiled with satisfaction. Perfect. My niece would be jealous. The mall was packed. Families, students, couples, all buzzing in the cool, air-conditioned corridors. Olivia's hand clamped around my arm like a leash as we walked in. Every step in those heels was torture, my legs shaky and tense. The swish of satin against my thighs mocked me with each movement. I could feel the eyes. A girl giggling as she passed. A group of boys glancing my way, whispering. My heart pounded so loudly it drowned out the chatter around us. "Relax," Olivia whispered, smiling as though we were just two friends shopping. "You'll draw more attention if you act nervous." "I am nervous," I hissed, my lips barely moving. She chuckled softly.
"Good.
"It makes you blush. And blushing looks adorable on you." We stopped in front of a clothing store. Olivia tugged me inside, straight toward the women's section. My stomach dropped. Rows of skirts, blouses, and dresses stretched out like a battlefield I couldn't escape. A salesgirl approached, beaming. "Hi. Looking for something special today?" "Yes," Olivia answered smoothly, nudging me forward. "Something for her. Maybe a cute dress for a date." The words slammed into me like a hammer. Her. The salesgirl's eyes flicked over me, from my heels to my crimson lips. She smiled warmly. "Of course. You'll look beautiful in our new arrivals." I wanted to sink into the floor, to disappear. But the girl's kindness, her genuine belief, was worse than laughter. She didn't see a boy trapped in a nightmare. She saw a girl. As she led us deeper into the store, Olivia leaned close, whispering, "See? They already believe it. You're not Ethan anymore. You're her now." My chest tightened, my breath shallow. And for the first time, I felt something even scarier than humiliation. I felt myself slipping. The salesgirl led us through racks of clothing that shimmered in every color. My heart hammered with every step, the sound of my heels clicking on the polished floor echoing louder than thunder in my ears. The satin dress clung to me. My lipstick felt too bright, and I could almost feel every gaze from the crowd burning into my skin. "Here we are," the salesgirl said cheerfully, stopping in front of a rack labeled New Arrivals. She pulled out a short floral dress with puff sleeves. "This would look so cute on you." "On me."
The phrase twisted like a knife.
Olivia's smile widened. "Yes, perfect. But let's grab a few more, just in case." Within minutes, the salesgirl had piled 4 dresses over her arm. One blue and silky, another a pastel sundress, a black fitted one that looked terrifyingly mature, and a lavender piece that screamed innocence. I wanted to protest, to tell them all to stop. But my throat was too tight, my body too frozen. "Come on," Olivia said, nudging me toward the fitting rooms. The salesgirl handed the pile of dresses to me. "I'll be right outside if you need sizes," she said warmly, her smile sincere. She didn't laugh. She didn't question.
She simply believed.
The door clicked shut behind me, and I was alone with the clothes. My reflection stared back from the tall mirror, crimson lips trembling, satin hugging every curve the dress created. "This isn't me," I whispered to the girl in the mirror. "It can't be." But the girl didn't answer. She only blushed deeper, her wide eyes shimmering with shame. My hands shook as I slipped out of the pink dress. The lingerie beneath clung to me like a second skin, the tights making my legs look foreign, delicate. I slid into the floral dress first. The fabric hugged my waist, the skirt flaring around my thighs. When I looked up, my stomach dropped. It fit. Not awkwardly, not comically, it fit. Olivia's knock startled me. "How's it going in there, princess?" "Don't call me that," I hissed. Her laugh slid through the door. "Open up. Let me see." I wanted to refuse, but refusing wasn't an option. My hand, betraying me, reached for the handle and pulled. The door swung open, and Olivia's eyes lit up like she'd unwrapped a present. "Oh my God, Ethan, you're beautiful." The salesgirl clapped her hands. "It's perfect on you. So feminine." The words slammed into me, feminine. Heat crawled up my neck, my chest tight with humiliation. But then something worse happened. A woman passing by paused, smiled at me, and said, "That dress was made for you, sweetheart." Sweetheart. I froze, my breath catching. The stranger walked away, without a second thought, not realizing she'd just shattered me. She hadn't seen a boy in a costume. She'd seen a girl. And she'd believed it. Olivia tugged me back inside the fitting room and shut the door. Her hands gripped my shoulders as she spun me toward the mirror. "Look," she whispered. "Really look." I tried to turn away, but she held me firm. The girl in the mirror stared back. The floral dress softened her, the lipstick glowed against her pale skin, the tights gave her legs a delicate sheen. She wasn't a joke. She wasn't a parody. She was real. And she was me. Tears burned in my eyes. "I don't want this," I whispered. Olivia's voice softened, almost tender. "But it wants you."
"Can't you feel it?"
"The world already accepts you. You're the only one fighting." Her reflection smiled in the mirror behind mine, her arms curling around me like a puppeteer holding her doll. "Say it," she whispered. "Say you're pretty." My lips trembled. "I can't." "Yes, you can. Say it, or I'll walk out there and show everyone the pictures." The silence stretched. My body shook. And then, against every screaming thought in my mind, I heard my voice whisper, "I'm pretty." Olivia's smile widened. She kissed the side of my painted cheek. "Good girl." The words shattered me, but deep inside, something cracked open, fear, shame, and a terrifying, reluctant thrill all tangled together. Before I could breathe, Olivia thrust the black fitted dress into my arms. "Try this one." I hesitated, but she raised her phone again. My hands moved on their own. The dress slid on tighter than the others, hugging every inch of me. When I turned to the mirror, my heart lurched. The girl staring back wasn't innocent anymore. She was poised, elegant, almost desirable. Olivia's voice was low, triumphant. "Now you're not just my doll. You're a woman." The word echoed in my skull. Woman. And for the first time, I didn't know if I hated it or if part of me wanted to believe it. When the final zipper slid into place, I knew I was lost. The black dress hugged me like it had been made for my body alone, smoothing over curves I didn't want to see, exaggerating hips I shouldn't have had. Olivia's eyes glittered as she circled me like a predator. "Perfect. We're getting all of them." "All." My voice cracked, higher than I remembered.
She grinned.
"Every single one. My princess needs options." The salesgirl carried the dresses to the counter, her cheerful hum slicing through the fog in my head. I wanted to melt into the floor, to vanish, but Olivia hooked her arm through mine and tugged me forward. "Don't slouch," she whispered sharply. "Stand tall. Shoulders back. A pretty girl doesn't hide." I obeyed. Not because I wanted to, but because the phone in her hand was a loaded gun pointed at my life. The salesgirl began folding the dresses into glossy bags. With each one, I felt another piece of me being sealed away. "That black one looked divine on you," she said warmly, sliding it into tissue paper. It's rare to see someone who can pull off both sweet and sultry. You're lucky. My chest constricted. Lucky? Olivia beamed. She is, isn't she? The word she rang in my ears like church bells, heavy and undeniable. By the time the transaction was done, 5 elegant shopping bags waited at the counter. Olivia nudged me forward. Go on, princess. Carry them. My hands shook as I reached for the handles. The bags weren't heavy, but the weight of the humiliation crushed me. I stood there, dolled up in satin and tights, arms draped with glossy bags like any other girl leaving a shopping spree. Except I wasn't. I couldn't be. The mall stretched before us, buzzing with weekend crowds. Families, couples, groups of teenagers, they all blurred into one terrifying audience. Every step echoed too loudly. My heels clicked against the floor, the sound sharp and feminine, impossible to disguise. The shopping bags swung at my sides, painted lips trembling as I tried to keep my head down. But Olivia wouldn't let me. She hooked her arm through mine again, forcing me upright. Smile, she whispered. If you pout, people will stare harder. If you smile, they'll just think you're a happy girl showing off her new wardrobe. So I smiled, or tried to. My reflection in the glass storefronts betrayed me. A blushing girl, overdressed, carrying too many bags, her eyes darting like a trapped animal. 2 teenage girls passed us, giggling. Cute outfit, one called out. My knees nearly buckled. Olivia leaned close, her breath warm against my ear.
See?
They believe it. They believe you. I wanted to scream. Instead, I clutched the bags tighter. As we approached the exit, a man in his 30s reached the door at the same time. He glanced at me, at my dress, my bags, my painted lips, and smiled politely. Here you go, miss, he said, holding the door open with a small bow.
Miss.
The word hollowed me out. He hadn't hesitated. He hadn't questioned. In his eyes, I wasn't Ethan fumbling in a costume. I was a woman who deserved courtesy. I muttered a broken thank you in a voice so soft it didn't sound like mine. Olivia's hand squeezed mine tight, triumphant. When we reached her car, I collapsed into the passenger seat, the shopping bags piled onto my lap like trophies I hadn't wanted to win. My chest heaved, my eyes stinging with tears I fought to hide. Olivia slid into the driver's seat, humming as if this were the most natural day of her life. She glanced at me, her smile sharp. You survived, she said. And not just survived, you thrived. Did you see the way people looked at you? Not with pity. Not with suspicion. With admiration. My voice cracked. They thought I was a girl. She reached over, brushing a tear off my cheek with her thumb. Because you are a princess. At least now, to everyone else, you are. Her words pressed into me like a brand, burning deep. And as much as I wanted to deny it, I couldn't stop the single terrifying thought that crept through my mind. What if she was right?